Many of you know we have a new administration, a new mayor, Mayor Rahm Emanuel. He came in last May 16th, and how this story starts is one of his campaign commitments. He committed to the idea of an open and transparent government. This was key, and he spoke of it, and he said, I'm not just going to have words behind this, but instead I'm going to execute upon that promise. So in comes the creation of this position of chief data officer. The idea of having someone directly in the mayor's office who is accountable to the mayor, whose job is to deliver on a few things, with open data being on top of it. And I'm going to try and give you a turbo overview of this, and it'll tie into the vision, and then we'll get to the real heart of this with Danielle. My life falls into three parts, and I usually do them in a certain order, but today we'll do it backwards. One is supporting quantitative and empirically driven government. My boss, the mayor, doesn't believe in just saying, let's have a policy for the sake of having a policy, or a policy because we think it's right. He is the type of mayor who says, prove it. And when he says prove it, that's all about the numbers. That's about the data. I sit within the policy group. So when we start to evaluate these different options, I bring in the how can we provide an analytic or a metric that would support that? And then how do we propagate that through the culture? So all the departments, the sister agencies, my role is to help us raise the bar on how we leverage data to do business better and to do business smarter and to serve our residents in a better way. The second part of my role is really taking data to the next level. And that's in the world of prediction, data mining, data modeling, really advanced analytics. These are things we've done in the private sector for some time, and I think some of you know my background and why I have a focus in that. But how can we, when we consider systems like 311, how can we do them smarter? How can we leverage true business intelligence to get there and really take government to the next level? There's one of those sort of things I've heard in government, good enough for government work. That is not okay for Mayor Emanuel, and it's not okay for Danielle and I. Our job here is to say, how can we take data and be the best, regardless of what sector? How do we innovate? How do we get ahead of problems? Historically, we may have had, and it's a broader way, certainly not the we in this room, a way of responding to a problem. The problem happened, it becomes a heater, then we react to it. Instead, we're using data to get ahead of a problem. Prevention, this is something we very clearly see in medicine. Preventive medicine, we want to bring these tools to broader government so we can do things like that. And that's really prediction, data mining, analytics. But then taking us to the third piece here, and the one that's really relevant today, and how we delivered upon that, is the transparency and open data piece. And why I couple it with the other pieces, it is all tied together. It's part of a holistic vision. What we've created to deliver on the mayor's commitment is very different than previous approaches to transparency. Historically, transparency could mean you take a whole load of data, you roll it into a PDF, you stick it in an obscure part of a website, and then you download it. That's not as usable as you might hope. But instead, what we've done is create a platform, and in this case, we leverage Socrates' sort of turnkey platform here to hit all of our different constituencies and maintain this commitment. Now, it's really important, and Danielle will sort of be going through these pieces, to think about the different constituencies that we're making this vision work for. We have the role of academia. Like many of you know, I'm a huge fan of academic research. This is where I think we find smart and innovative techniques. I've worked on sort of broader problems that way for years. Now, we've been able to put data up in the portal. Academia can use it right now. It updates and it's sustainable to get at these big problems. To the media. Every time the media wants something from government, they shouldn't have to FOIA it. Why are we creating this overhead? Why are we creating this complexity? It's better to have a relationship that is sustainable like that. 3, developers. We, in Chicago, throughout the country, we have great engineers who are committed to the community. Let them leverage our data and do really, really smart things, whether a unit tester or a mashup or some sort of composition of all this. They can do it. Not every smart product needs to come from government when we have community-minded engineers who are looking to make a difference. But then the last piece is my mom. My mom should be able to find out what's going on in her city, in her neighborhood, and we need to, my mom's not a computer scientist. She needs to be able to get on a browser, access the data, and get at it. So what we've done in the past year is deliver on this commitment to transparency, but actually get at it through the multiple different constituencies. And on top of that, it's been designed in a way that's both sustainable and real. There is no little dude sitting in a basement vetting this data before it goes out the door. But instead, it's for the technologists on the phone, these are a series of ETLs that, good or bad, they fire and they go out and they're public data. And that's the key to being able to architect this so it can grow big and meet the commitment and it gets the community needs. So that's my turbo overview of what we do here, but I think Danielle can really get into the details.